Good morning, everyone. My name is Kara Heifel, and I'm with the Illinois Restaurant Association. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining today. Today's webinar is on Secure Choice. It's on retirement savings and how it's easy for small businesses and valuable for employees. During today's webinar, we'll hear from experts at Secure Choice Illinois. Today's webinar is also broadcast in English, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese. To listen in Spanish or Chinese, please use the interpretation button in your toolbar. The webinar is being presented by the Illinois Restaurant Association in conjunction with the Cook County Small Business Source. The Cook County Small Business Source was established to ensure businesses emerge from COVID-19 intact and positioned for future growth. The Small Business Source connects small business owners with expert guidance and support. Services include no-cost business advising, resources, and events that connect small business owners with a community of advisors and each other. For one-on-one small business advising, sign up at cookcountysmallbiz.org. It's free and super easy. The Small Business Source will then connect you with an expert from their network, including us here at the Illinois Restaurant Association. All of their contact information will be included in the follow-up email that you'll receive after this webinar. Also, before we begin, I'd like everyone attending to know that the Illinois Restaurant Association remains a resource to you as the hospitality industry continues its efforts to recover fully. Our staff, myself included, is focused on providing guidance, assistance, and relief to restaurants, bars, caterers, event venues, and other hospitality businesses in Illinois, as we all work together to emerge and operate fully again. We're sending out regular email updates to thousands of operators around the state with what you need to know for your business, and you can sign up for those on our website. We also have a host of different resources and vendors that can assist you, info about any current mandates or pro bono legal work, and much more on our website. That's illinoisrestaurants.org. Now, for today's webinar, you can use the Q&A button in your toolbar to post questions at any time during the presentation. Or if you see another attendee has asked a question that you like, you can hit the thumbs up icon next to the question so we can see which are most popular and we'll answer those. I'll be watching the questions coming in and we'll do my best to get to as many as possible. Now, without further ado, at this time, I'd like to introduce our panelists. With us today, we have Christine Chang, Director of Secure Choice, and Jamie Niles, Relationship Manager at Secure Choice, Illinois. Please take it away.
Thank you so much, Kara. Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you on today to talk a bit more about the Illinois Secure Choice Retirement Savings Program. As Kara mentioned, we have Jamie Niles with us as well. She is really your go-to resource as a business owner in terms of questions you may have about Secure Choice, assistance you might request with any part of the process, employee info sessions, things of that nature. So Jamie will be sharing a bit more a bit later in this presentation, but want to thank you for jumping on with us today. So to start off, I want to give you a little bit of context about why Secure Choice exists, and really to set the scene, to set the context for this. Next slide, please. Essentially, the issue is that our country, our state, is facing a retirement crisis. We have too many people who have too little saved for retirement. So there are lots of statistics out there. One that we'll share today is that nearly half of working age families have nothing saved for retirement in their retirement account. And while we know that for AARP, workers are 15 times more likely to save if they can do so at work, automatically through payroll deduction, we also know that 40% of our private sector businesses in the state don't offer a workplace retirement savings program. So what we have here is an access gap. It's much easier for people to save at work, but we've got at least 40% of our workers in the state who aren't able to save at work. And this access gap is a big deal in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's not a good outcome for an individual worker who reaches the end of their career and doesn't really have enough to live on, because really, again, Social Security was never meant to be somebody's sole source of income in retirement. On a sort of macro level, the state is going to bear a lot of costs in terms of strain on the public safety net when those retirees reach a point where they don't have enough to live on through their own savings and their own retirement plan. And then really from the equity side, if you look at which workers are being left behind in terms of access to workplace retirement savings, it tends to be workers at smaller businesses, workers with lower wages, workers of color. So there are lots of reasons that we need to address the looming retirement crisis, and that's where Secure Choice comes into play as one tool in the toolbox. Next slide, please. So Illinois Secure Choice is, just to give you kind of more of the kind of background on what this is and what it means. It's a retirement savings program that's meant to be a really easy thing for employers to facilitate and a really easy way for employees to put money away for their future. So the program is overseen and created by a 7-member public board, of which the state treasurer is the chair. And that's why our office, as the treasurer's office, we step in to help with program implementation. But it's administered by a private sector third party, which is Ascensus, which is where Jamie works. Through the program, an employee would be saving for their own to their own Roth individual retirement account through payroll deduction that's facilitated by their employer. So it's the employee's own money going into their IRA. Some key things about that arrangement. The IRA belongs, as the name implies, to that worker. So it is not tied to their employer. We've got plenty of employees participating in this program that have multiple jobs or that have moved job to job. This account is portable. It moves with them as they change employment. Again, the main sort of mechanism here is that automatic payroll deduction, which we know from AARP really helps to move the needle in terms of employees saving, putting away that money for the future. The board deliberately made the program kind of taking into account best practices from the 401k industry, taking into account behavioral economics. We have an opt-out program, although again, the employee always has control over their participation over any of the options, within their retirement account. So if they want to opt out, they can do so at any time. If they want to opt back in, they can do so at any time. If they want to change the amount, the percentage of their gross pay that they're putting away, they're free to do that. And the other aspect being, there's no cost to the employer who's facilitating this program. The cost to the saver, the actual employee who's saving through this program, is a standard administrative fee, which Jamie will touch on later. Next slide, please. In terms of eligibility and who this is for, we'll talk about the employee side first, and then we'll talk about employers. So employees who are eligible to participate in Illinois Secure Choice are those that have wages allocable to Illinois. So we often get this question about state of residence of the employee. The state that the employee resides in is not really a factor at all. What really matters is, does that employee have wages that are allocable to Illinois? To rephrase it, when you as an employer are filing your quarterly withholding tax returns to Illinois Department of Revenue, who are you listing on the Schedule P saying that you're doing withholding because they have Illinois wages paid to them? The employee needs to be age 18 or older. And finally, the employee needs to have either a Social Security number or an individual taxpayer identification number, also known as an ITIN. One other thing, and I know we get questions about this, the number of hours worked, the sort of full or part-time status of the employee has no bearing. There's no requirement on our end in terms of hours worked in a week, a month, or whatever period. Full-time, part-time, seasonal are all eligible in our eyes. On the employer side of things, the state law that governs Secure Choice says that an Illinois employer who has 5 or more Illinois employees, has been around for at least 2 years, and doesn't offer their own retirement plan, needs to either start up their own retirement plan or register for and facilitate Secure Choice. And just to highlight this, and I know this is in blue down below, Secure Choice is not meant to compete with private market offerings. If an employer wants to offer their own plan, if that's a 401k or a 403b, we welcome them to do so. We just want to ensure that every employer is offering something to their employees as a channel for those employees to save for their future, be that their own sponsored plan or be that Illinois Secure Choice. Next slide, please. In terms of how we're bringing employers on into the program, our board has opted to take a staggered approach. So we broke up the enrollment wave by the size of the employer. So to date, and our program started in 2018, we've already onboarded 3 of our employer waves, but we've got 2 that are coming up in the near term. And this is where I think this is very relevant for a lot of folks on the webinar today. We have the next registration deadline is November 1st of this year, and that's for businesses who had 16 or more Illinois employees in calendar year 2021. So that's the group that we're really working with in terms of active outreach in this time period leading into the November 1st deadline. And then looking ahead to next year, the next deadline is going to be November 1st of 2023, and that one's designed for businesses with 5 or more Illinois employees. Certainly, any of the employers in either of these 2 upcoming enrollment waves are more than able to register ahead of their deadline. So for instance, even the folks who have a November of 23 deadline are welcome to register early because it gives their employees just that much more time to build their savings. Next slide, please. And then in terms of sort of specific concerns that we hear time and time again from smaller business owners, these are the top 3 things we hear in regards to why it's been challenging to start up their and sponsor their own plan. Number 1, administrative burden is not having the bandwidth or the capacity to actually take on the tasks related to sponsoring a plan, because, you know, oftentimes, and we know this, the small business owner themselves is oftentimes HR, operations, finance, and all the things they're wearing all the hats. The second one is a cost impediment, which is that, you know, a lot of businesses, especially smaller ones, don't have the margin to pay for starting up a plan, to pay for employer contributions, et cetera. And then third, there's really oftentimes no ability to shoulder additional fiduciary liability. And so our board was very specific in the design of Illinois Secure Choice to really address those 3 concerns. So on the administrative side, it's really a small lift. It's really about registering for the program, uploading your employees, keeping that roster updated, and then moving payroll contributions for the employees who are participating. On the cost side of things, there's no fee to the employer, and furthermore, employer contributions are prohibited in this program. And then third, there's no fiduciary liability because the state, the board, are the ones that are controlling the design of the program, the investments, they're doing all the monitoring, the due diligence, et cetera. At this point, I want to kind of pass it over to my colleague, Jamie, who can speak a little bit more to sort of the employer side of things and sort of the saver experience as well.
Okay, thank you. So if we could look at the next slide, I think it's a great one because it provides a timeline, and these can, I think, be a little easier to understand and remember. So let's take it left to right. The first step is that you will receive an access code from Illinois Secure Choice, and you will use that access code and your federal tax identification number to register on our portal or online prior to your deadline. Now, if you already have a qualified retirement program, this is the time you would exempt your company or organization. Number 2, for those who do not have a retirement program, you'll need to register for Illinois Secure Choice, and you'll have 30 days to upload your employee information. Next, this employee information is in our portal. We reach out to the employees via email or a print mail piece, and employees have 30 days to review their options. And during that time, they can do nothing and remain with the default selections. They can customize their accounts or they can opt out. And then once that 30-day employee review period is over, employers begin the payroll deductions. And that happens on the next payroll date after the 30-day employee review period. Next. So employees are automatically registered once you, the employer, uploads the employee information. Each employee will automatically be sent program information, as I mentioned, either by email or mail, and be given their 30 days to review the program. If they can do nothing and remain with the default settings, as we discussed earlier. Second is they can customize their account. And third is to opt out, keeping in mind that they have the 30 days to opt out. And the key here is if they don't opt out, they are auto-enrolled in the program. So I think that's very important to understand. Next. Now let's look at the 3 options savers have in a little more detail. So first option we talked about is we review default settings. So the default settings are A Roth IRA with contributions starting at 5% and increasing by 1% every year to a maximum of 10%. The target date fund is the pre-selected investment option. The second option savers have is to customize their account. So they can change the contribution rate, change the investment choices, as well as manage the account, such as adding a beneficiary. And the third option is opting out. Opting out takes action, meaning the saver employee has to make a call to our service team, which I think is the easiest. You can also go online and opt out that way, or there's a form available on our website they can complete and send in. Next. So when we're talking about customizing the accounts or for a saver, I wanted to share some of that, some of those opportunities with you. First, the pre-selected or automatic account for Illinois Secure Choice is a Roth IRA, which is an individual retirement account. A Roth IRA is funded by after-tax dollars with interest that accumulates tax-free. You do have the option of recharacterizing, which would change the Roth IRA to a traditional IRA. And the automatic contribution rate starts at 5%, and that contribution rate increases by 1% every year to a maximum of 10%. The saver can customize this, and you can select a contribution anywhere from 1 to 100% of earnings, keeping in mind that there are IRS contribution limits. You can also turn off the automatic escalation if you'd like. And the pre-selected investment option is one that uses a money market fund for 90 days to preserve the initial funds, after which the funds are swept into a target date fund. And the investment options savers have available are all professionally managed and provide funds that range from conservative to a little more aggressive. These funds are all managed by private sector firms selected by the Illinois Secure Choice Board. The investment managers are State Street, BlackRock, and Charles Schwab. Annual asset-based fees are standard administrative fees and amount to approximately 0.75% or 75 cents for every $100 that's invested in the account. The 4 fund options available are as follows. The Capital Preservation Fund with a focus on safety and liquidity. The Conservative Fund, which is comprised of US investment grade bonds and it's more conservative. The Growth Fund, which is invested in stocks of the 100 leading US publicly traded companies. This fund is a little more aggressive and provides more upside, but a little more risk too. And finally, we have a target date fund, which is very popular these days because this fund aligns directly with the savers or the account holders' target retirement age. And quick comment here, the board is very deliberate in establishing these options and continues to be diligent in monitoring investment options for savings. With the target date fund, which is the default investment option, as savers get closer to retirement, the allocation of assets adjusts to become more conservative over time. The saver does not have to do anything to make these changes, and then they get the result of really an easy and effective way to save. Next. And then we wanted to share, we work with so many restaurants, and we wanted to share some of the comments that we receive. I mean, some of our contacts work with, a franchise situation, and may have multiple restaurants, and we work with them in that way, really offering opportunities to their employees and staff that maybe they didn't have in the past. And now we'll watch a short video.
I helped open this restaurant, so I started as a line cook and worked my way up, and here we are.
I've actually been working for Chef Aaron since I've been 18 years old. I work with him at Kinmont, which is a seafood restaurant. And then when he opened this place, he contacted me to come over, and it's been great for the past 3 years. It's a great environment to work in, great people. Those guys know how to make what chef envisions and put it on a plate just the way he does.
I love being an office manager. There is no possible way I could get bored doing this job in a restaurant.
I'm thinking about it more in the future now that I have a nephew.
I was so happy when they offered that to us. I've never had a retirement plan ever. So this is awesome.
Actually, I talked to my sister-in-law about it. She's an accountant. Well, if they don't have this, they probably have a Roth IRA.
Clara Lee had actually asked me if we did any kind of 401k or anything. And I was just like, in a restaurant? No.
So I went seeking out it with our office manager, Keely, and she got it done.
So I'm just going through the emails and I saw this thing about Illinois Secure Choice. And it's a Roth IRA. And it's like, well, Clara Lee just asked me about that. All right, well, let's see if we qualify to be part of the pilot program. And we did.
I've been waiting for this to like come to my path for a while. So it's awesome for a company to be like, here's a retirement plan.
Because your margins are so slim in a restaurant. Owners just can't afford to do it. This is brand new. This is groundbreaking.
It's so easy to sign up, and it took me a whole 30 seconds. Mississippi is included.
As an employer, it's extremely easy to set up. It's just a matter of downloading and uploading. You can do it while you're eating your sandwich.
When I enrolled, I left it at the default of 5%, but I plan on going up.
If they change it from the 5% to 2%, I get an email as soon as they change it, and that's it.
It's always my money, and I'm always in control of it. Always.
Something that employees can take with them somewhere that doesn't cost the ownership anything to participate in is huge.
This program does that. It goes wherever I go.
What I really liked about Illinois Secure Choice is that it also came in Spanish because I wasn't going to offer it to only half of my employees.
They went through everything and did my bit and answered all my questions.
You can retire by being a food runner or being a server. You can retire with this is awesome. Like, it's awesome. I wasn't aware of it first off. My brother came up to me like, "Are you doing that?" I'm like, "Yes, I've been waiting for someone to do that because it's one of those things that like it's a step to equality. Like a step that everyone can have what everyone else has."
We have a dishwasher who's older who is participating because he never had that opportunity.
You're always working and you don't really think about that stuff.
Sometimes we just get caught working so hard that we don't think about the future sometimes. It's okay.
Actually, with this program, I still don't think about it, but I know it's happening.
It's awesome. It's kind of like weight off your shoulders. Like you have something for your future.
I feel empowered.
Someone offering me help in a way to do something great to save for the future it's a no-brainer. You should just do it. That's how it should be.
Thank you, Kara. And lastly, just want to share some great resources. We are so committed to making this easy for employers and employees and help employees and employers make educated choices around this program. Want to highlight our website, which is www.illinoisssecurechoice.com. Great resources there for employers and employees. We have phone lines that are dedicated to the program with service representatives available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and multilingual support. So that's really a super option too. And then you have a one-on-one support. So I'm available to help you with any part or piece of navigating this program. I can present to your employees. I can assist you at any stage along the way. So with that, I'd love to listen to or respond to some of the questions we've been getting, Kara.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jamie. And thank you, Christine, for all this information. We do have a number of questions in the chat, and I also have some questions. Just myself. So the first question we have is, if employees over 18 are automatically on the roster, can employees under 18 years of age voluntarily sign up?
Under 18 cannot sign up, and that's for really any financial product like this. So once they turn 18, then immediately you can add them to the program. You can add employees at any time, but they have to be 18 years of age.
Got it. That's good to know. And another question we have is, how do we request an access code from the Illinois Secure Choice?
You want to take that, Christine?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. So so I kind of alluded to this earlier in terms of the source of our data, in terms of what employee count an employer has. It's all based on quarterly filings that the employer makes, the Illinois Department of Revenue, each quarter related to withholding income taxes. So this would be Form Illinois 941. We have that data from the previous calendar year, and that's what determines who's in our universe for the current year and who has a deadline coming up or into the next year. So our program administrator has already started reaching out directly to employers that are in the wave that has the November 1st deadline of this year. They're continuing that process as that deadline gets closer. So you would receive your access code via an official notification from our program, either as an email or as a print letter. Additionally, if you don't have that email in the moment that you're registering on our website, there is a request access code function where you can, put in a couple pieces of information for them to reissue that access code to you.
And Kara, can I jump in? If someone cannot find their access code or they've set up their login and password, I'm happy to help them. So if you can provide my contact information, also the service team is available, but yeah, don't let that hold you back.
Yeah, that's actually a great reminder and answer to the next question is, will the slides be available for download after this? Yes, you will receive an email with the slides, contact information, and as well as all of this information. And then we post it immediately after this on our website as well, illinoisrestaurants.org. And I'm happy to connect both of you directly with any people that reach out to us from the Illinois Restaurant Association members, so we can continue to educate and make sure everyone's in compliance. So the next question we have is from Derek. Hi, Derek. Is it better to work through the state program as opposed to working with other payroll services? And what is the advantage of this?
You want me to take it, Christine? I think the advantage, this program is free. I don't know what the cost would be for other payroll programs, but we don't have a lot of bells and whistles. There's no matching. It's a very simple program that provides the funding conduit for the employees for their Roth IRA accounts. So I think it would be dependent on, I guess, expense and also what features you feel you need for your company.
Yeah, and just to kind of supplement what Jamie said, we believe that you should absolutely pick the option that works the best for you in terms of where you are capacity-wise, sort of financially where you are, what your objectives are for the plan that you want to implement for your employees. Understanding that also sort of over time, your needs, your capacity may change. So, maybe Illinois Secure Choice is the right option for you at this juncture. But maybe in a year or two, you're going to be in a different place where you want to sponsor 401k, for instance, because there's certain attributes that you would love to, incorporate or what have you. So, if we can help bridge that gap between now and then that's great. Again, the point of the Illinois Secure Choice program and the state law kind of underpinning it is really to provide access to workers who traditionally haven't had access.
Right, and as you guys highlighted in the video traditionally restaurant workers have not had access. So this is great. Next question we have is someone who has a payroll processing company already. So will the payroll processor receive the access code, or will it be sent directly to the employer?
So that's always going to go through into the employer. The employer is going to control this. Now, employers could assign a delegate or delegates to work on this program in their place, and you can actually through that process select how much information or what kind of authority these delegates have. So each of the payroll, I think it's a payroll provider they're mentioning, they have different abilities to interface with Illinois Secure Choice and may have a different arrangement with the employer. So I'm happy to talk about that, separately, but it would always go to and through the employer. And then the employer could bring the payroll provider into the mix as they want to, and they can add them as a delegate to their account.
All right, that was a good question. Now, do you guys find that when you send over through an email the access code, does it go to spam sometimes? Because that's happened to me on a number of occasions.
Yes. I try to provide the employer with the information that the employees will receive, just so they have it. It doesn't have the access code, but it has everything else. And if you wanted to, let's say, opt out, it'd be very easy to still make a phone call. And they can always call the service team and get that access code, or as I mentioned, I can look it up for them too. So it does sometimes go to spam. You're right.
Yeah, just happens with government emails sometimes, I've
Yeah.
experienced. So I have another question that we have is, can the business start their secure choice program before they're mandated, which for, again, 15 plus employees is November 1st. Can you start early?
Yes, you can start early. And if you don't have your access code and you need it, just let me know. That's fine. Christine?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, with the staggered registration deadlines, this November is for employers with 16 or more employees. Next November of 23 would be for the 5 and up employee set. But anybody who's covered by the state law for next year can choose to register this year and again get sort of a leg up on getting their employees starting to save earlier.
Great. And just as a point of reference, I believe I saw on your website that you have a number of webinars too for helping on board. So we can send that over as a resource for all that.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Another question is, the business owner or shareholder is also an employee of the business. Are they eligible to participate?
Absolutely. They should be included in the employee list. So any employees with W-2 earnings would be listed on, and now again, it's up to them if they want to participate or opt out, but yes.
Great. And I know that you highlighted the Dearborn, which is a great place. I just was there yesterday. Are there other restaurants that have successfully gone through this before? Any other success stories, or, we all are friends in the restaurant industry. So if there is anyone else that they can talk to about how they went through this.
Oh, absolutely. We have, I think in general, the service industry is the majority of who's in our eligible employer pool over time. That's been the case. And I think, we're seeing more of that as you get kind of into the smaller business sector as well. We have tons of restaurants that are facilitating the program. I spoke with a woman who runs a barbecue place a little further south in the state earlier this summer. And she said, she's been desperate over the past, all the sort of COVID times to keep people in the restaurant industry. And she said anything she can do to sort of make it more attractive to the employees that she already has to attract new talent. And she said, this is one of the things that helped me with that objective is, and you heard it in the Dearborn, and that's from your own personal experience, traditionally people who work at restaurants are not offered a way to save for retirement at work. So, this is absolutely something that makes a difference for restaurant owners. In terms of that, again, talent retention, talent attraction, and it really helps them meet that objective. Again, our restaurant owners are not saying, oh, I never wanted to offer my folks access to retirement savings. It was that there was really no feasible way to do it. And that's where, again, Secure Choice can play an important role because it is meant to be easy to facilitate and easy for the saver to participate in. So we're happy to share some other media stories and things about restaurants that we have been working with, and just so people can kind of see it's not just the Dearborn, it's lots of different kinds of restaurants that are out there finding a lot of utility in this.
Yeah, and I was just going to piggyback and say we could definitely bring some examples, or perhaps it's another webinar, but those who have multiple restaurants and how they're managing that with kind of a single sign-on, and those who have employees who work at multiple restaurants. They still remain with one account, but they can have several of the restaurants or employers contribute into that account for them. So yeah, we have lots of great background with regards to working with restaurants.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I think you also touched on a pressing issue in the restaurant industry and a lot of industries right now is staffing. So people are offering bonuses and other forms of incentive to retain staff, to hire new staff. So I think this is a real opportunity for operators to offer another benefit through Secure Choice. And there's also sometimes compliance issues on if you're in Cook County or not Cook County, and if restaurant groups have employees that work in both, but this is all statewide, so you don't have to worry about that. That's great. Is there, and then just to clarify, what exactly counts as an employee-sponsored retirement plan?
You go ahead, Christine. I've got them here, but. go
Yeah,
ahead.
so there's a full list. It's basically, and this is outlined in our statute and in our administrative rules. So again, the kind of the statute that governs secure choice. It's really the majority of plans that have favorable tax treatment under the Internal Revenue Code. So Jamie's got a list of kind of examples of what those are. Some will be more familiar sounding to folks, and then some get a little bit more kind of niche. But Jamie, feel free to share the list. And it is available on our website as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say most common are 401k plans, but it could be qualified annuity, simple IRA, pension. Most, if you can see the list, if you have questions, let me know. But yes, it needs to have that retirement component, not a savings or bonus program. It's a retirement plan.
Great, this is super helpful. And I don't see any more questions in the chat. Is there anything else that you guys, either Jamie or Christine, wanted to add or clarify that you get as questions quite frequently?
I think those questions were excellent. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you, because we are here to help and love the restaurant community. And I know it's been a challenge, but hopefully this is going to be a positive, and we're going to help to make it as easy and streamlined as possible.
Great. I learned a lot. I think this is a great resource. And again, if you have 15 or more employees, November 1 is the deadline. And you can always sign up early, and we're here as a resource. You will get all of this information in an email, and then it will be on our website as well as on the Secure Choice website. They have a number of resources. I just want to thank everyone for attending. Thank you, our panelists, Christine and Jamie from Secure Choice, to providing this great information in this slide deck, which everyone will get. I'd also like to thank the Cook County Small Business Source and their continued efforts to provide a number of resources, information, and business advising that's all free. And following the conclusion, a reminder, everyone will get these materials, and we will continue to remain a resource at the Illinois Restaurant Association, as well as Secure Choice too, for small businesses and all their needs. And thank you so much again, everyone, for attending. We are out of time. Thanks, everyone.